Welcome back, everyone. Another year of the Frenzy Extra, my favorite part, when Jim Wilson and I get to break down the teams and look ahead to some of the big games coming up. He is Jim Wilson, the sports editor from the Telegram and Gazette and Home Team Magazine. And Willie, it's upon us again. We're 2 weeks into the season, so now you kind of see where teams shake out just a little bit. I mean, we still have so much time to go. An extra season, an extra game in the regular season this year. But looking at what we've seen through 2 weeks, obviously some eye-openers, some people that we thought and some teams we thought were going to be good, like the Northbridges and Leominsters, but some other teams, too, that really surprised, and I think Neshoba, even though going in they were going to be good. St. Peter Marion, really good start for them. But we'll start with Division II and kind of work our way down. What have you seen, the top teams in Division II so far that you've seen?
Like you said, you're looking at the teams you thought would be good, like Leominster with Deuce Franks and Noah Gray. You knew they're going to be good, one of the more talented teams around. They've shown it so far. 2 big wins. They took out North Middlesex the opener. They beat up on, they had a great win last week against Shepherd Hill. I think that was a good, benchmark for both teams to see what you got. What do you have? What are you showing so far early in the season? You're still trying to figure out who's going where. Leominster's showing they have great offense, even better defense. I think they can take a lot of good offense they're going to see this year and shut them down.
Well, and I'm going to jump already. I said we're going to start with Division II, go down. But I'm going to jump right to Shepherd Hill right away because Shepherd Hill, you talk about Leominster's opening schedule against North Middlesex, against Shepherd Hill. No one's had a tougher start to the season than Shepherd Hill, and no one will have a tougher start when you look at their first 4 or 5 games. But unlike most coaches you hear, they'll complain about a tough schedule. Chris Lindstrom loves it. He's excited about playing the top teams in Central Massachusetts. He says it's an honor, and those are teams we should be playing. I think that's refreshing, and I love the way that they've come out. Now, they're 0-2. They're still the best team in Division IV, but they're 0-2. They could win 1 game going into the playoffs and still be the best team in Division IV. But what I've seen from them through the first 2 games, really good team, really tough, really physical. It's a depth issue. When it comes to playing St. John's and the Leominsters, it's just maybe 4 more guys on the second team that make the difference between being able to compete for a full 4 quarters or starting to wear down and show that wear and tear in the 3rd quarter.
And you saw that a little bit in those 2 games where the 3rd and 4th quarter, they start rotating guys in. Meanwhile, Shepherd Hill still has their Ironman in, trying to go both ways, trying to shut the other team down. It's just, you're a little step slower off the line. You just can't reach that pass. That's where it's happening, and that's where they're getting weighed down. But like you said, nobody's played a tougher schedule. They look at that. They'd rather go in and with a 500 record to the playoffs, knowing that those 2 losses, they're still going to pick up a lot of power ranking points. So they're not going to really hurt them. It's just as good as about beating a 1-7 team at the end of the day. So they're going to pick up great points for those. They'll still be in the mix of the playoffs, but they're going to be tested. Look at Fitchburg last year. Fitchburg took its lumps to start the season. They ended up getting hot at the right time and winning the Central Mass Super Bowl.
Right.
I think you can see the same thing with Shepherd Hill. They don't come with a sexy record, but they're going to be just as dangerous. I mean, I still have them top 4 in my poll.
I do too. I have them top 3 in my poll. You and I talk about this each and every week. When you have David Sarkoti, the running back, who is an absolute beast. He's fast. He's strong. He'll run you over. He'll run around you. Alec Lindstrom, his brother Chris, is playing for Boston College as a true freshman on the offensive line. Alec never missed a lift this summer, and his brother came back. His brother's giving him little tips, whether it's technique tips, whether it's new lifting techniques. Alex is a sponge. He eats it all up, but he's got a nasty streak that his dad had when they called him the tree back at BU. When he played in BU, they called him the tree because he was so big, Chris Sr. But I'm telling you, this is a good team, the Shepherd Hill team, and fun to watch.
They'll be fine.
And, of course, McKeon, too, going to Michigan, and we didn't even talk about him.
Exactly. That's it. We just talking about for 5 minutes, and then the Division I kid is like an afterthought because he's going to have a great season. A lot of teams are keying on him. But like you said, they have so many other weapons. They welcome a double team. They have a bunch of bruisers that can get the job done, just like every year. They'll be fine.
You look at St. John's. Right now, it's Leominster, St. John's. For me, anyway, Leominster, St. John's, then Shepherd Hill, then Northbridge. St. John's starting the year off at 1-1.
Pissed, by the way.
Well, I had them right below. See, what did I have? Oh no, you know what? I didn't. I did have Wachusett up 1.
We'll get it in post.
You're right. No, you're right. You and I flip-flopped it. So I did have them 5th or 4th. St. John's, 1-1 to start the season. Catholic Memorial, tough team, obviously, real tough team, but they beat Shepherd Hill. Now, this is kind of a different St. John's team. He's looking at kind of the strengths of the St. John's team. Huge line. Sean Reagan going to Boston College. The guard right next to him coming over from Clinton. His father played in college. So they have a really good line that can push you up front. Cassidy is a great runner.
Yeah.
He's a Danny Light in the way that he can run and wants to run you over. He seeks contact out. They're a team that's going to wear you down. They may not be able to beat you with the aerial circus like they've done in the past when they had guys, when they had Richard Rodgers and when they had the Blanchflowers and they had all these guys that were obviously NFL caliber guys. You're not going to get those guys every couple years, but this is a team that really can just wear you down.
They're still, and I think they're still trying to find out who they are. Because Cassie's going to come into his own fine. I think that St. John's Catholic Memorial loss was a good wake-up call for them because it showed what they need to work on. They don't have that Shane Combs kind of guy or a Vassar kind of guy to sort of give the ball to and carry the load for a while if the passing game isn't there. They're still trying to figure out what they have on offense and what works. Cassie's, I don't think he has the weapons around him just yet to sort of be able to win games like that. And that was a good sign to show what they need to work on. Moriarty and those guys, with that blur offense, they need to be so precise. They'll find them, when they'll hit their stride in a couple weeks.
And their practices are unbelievable. When you go to those practices, I mean, it is work. It's at a good tempo, and they just get a lot of work done. It's not standing around and watching, a couple guys run through some plays. They get a lot of work done in practice. Wachusett, off to a great start, coming off a huge eye-opening victory over Fitchburg. And, when you talk to Wachusett and talk to the coaching staff, Mike Dobzinski is going to give you that Lou Holtz every year. Well, we don't know what we have. We're just trying to stay in games. This is a team you and I have talked about. Not a lot of big names, not a lot of guys that you say, okay, hey, remember this kid from last year, this kid from last year. But this is a talented football team. It's a deep football team, and physically a very strong football team.
They're always going to be strong. I mean, Wachusett always has a good line. They have their weight room. They're in weight room all the time. They're a good team. But like you said, he's going to downplay as much as he can. Then he goes out and hangs 24 on Fitchburg and pitches a shutout. People are going to start talking about them, which is good because they're catching up to the rest of you and I who have been talking about them for a couple of weeks, knowing they're going to be a good team. Like you said, they don't have that player you can rely on. So you stop him, which makes them more dangerous because they're so good offensively. They can give the ball a different hero every week type of thing.
Yep.
And and their defense is a shutdown defense. Like you said, Fitchburg hasn't scored a touchdown in 2 games.
Right.
And Wachusett came in. They weren't able. I think they were held on 100 yards rushing. That's a big front line. They're going to put some pressure on the quarterback, make him make decisions, make him make mistakes, turn into pickoffs for that secondary. Wachusett's going to be dangerous this year.
Ryan McCarthy back there, what a great weapon he is back in the secondary. He's a great wide receiver too, but it's a run-first offense, so you may not see him get a ton of touches on the offensive side. But as a defensive back, boy, he's a tough player. He can cover guys. He can hit like a linebacker. He can cover like a cornerback. His father was a great player at South High School. Then he played at UNH, also ran track at UNH, so he's got those great football genes as well.
Yeah, and Wachusett, they scored 2 touchdowns offensively. They returned a punt for a touchdown last week. They returned a pick 6. So that's going to be the method all year long. It's going to be a different, how they win this game. Well, who knows? Maybe Dobzinski hit his head on a rock and he threw for 40 times a game and they'll win a game like that. But they can do that. They're dangerous. They're tough to game plan against.
Yeah, and Zottely is another one who's just phenomenal, carrying on that family tradition. All right, moving on quickly. We talked about Shepherd Hill, St. Peter Marion in Division 4, off to a 2-0 start. A physical St. Peter Marion team. When you talk about St. Peter Marion, you're always thinking about throwing the football. You think about Seamus Leary, the great arm, and all the skill guys they have. But this is a team right now with Baldino that is a pound. They're a ground and pound team, I think, first, and throw the ball second. They're running to set up the pass.
Well, I think like Wachusett, they're going to be a lot of what does the game plan dictate this week. Leary, he's coming off that ACL injury. He's still, he's getting there. He's still there. I think last week he had a good game where he felt confident about what he can do against Groton Dunstable. He's able to scramble a little bit more. He's not worried about, what if happens. And that's a dangerous Leary because he'll come by and if teams have to worry about him, because they still got Baldino who's going to run over people all day long.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be a good weapon for St. Peter Marion. They got Leominster this week. And if St. Peter Marion's under the radar now, just wait. If they come up with a good game against Leominster and shock them, then all of a sudden people are talking about them, and that's what they want.
Yeah, our game of the week is Northbridge and Auburn. It's a great rivalry game. Northbridge starting off the season 2-0, and everyone talks about the Northbridge offense. Their defense has not allowed a single point through 2 games. And that's, I think, the story right now. Right. Offensively, obviously, they can hang with anyone, any division. But defensively, now you're talking about a championship caliber club. And this is a team that's been to the Super Bowl 2 straight years.
Right. And I think that's been the way for Northbridge the last couple of years. Their defense gets overshadowed, not because they're not as good, but because that offense puts up mad numbers every week with just Kobe Schofer throwing, running for 5 touchdowns a game. but that defense quietly has been doing their job every week against no matter who they put up against. I think that's going to, I think they gave Auburn a lot they can handle. I don't know if it's going to be, the normal Auburn team they're going to see with that big bruising line, fast running backs. Auburn's going to have his hands full this week.
All right, now we're going to talk about the speech of the year so far. Mike Ross's pregame speech to West Boylston before last week's game against Gardner. First, just look and listen one more time. It is awesome.
It's my Christmas card this year.
What's this?
I don't know. It's a secret admirer.
What are these? What are these? What are these? They're called cream puffs. There was a card here they gave me. Well, look at the card. Thank you. Coach Ross and West Boylston football team. You're not going to like the meal you get like this every week. We saw you play last week, and this is what we thought of you. We will see you Friday at your home field. Don't forget the cream. I got 3 things to say to that. Number 1, the only one who creeps people on this field is us. Number 2, this is what I think about this. Number 3, you protect this house. Let's go!
Nothing better than Rossi pregame. That is outstanding. And the best is that the creativity is outstanding. He may not win an Oscar for the acting job, but the creativity is fantastic.
West Boylston has no idea what just hit him. This is week 2. They get a faithful Rossi. Now he's going to go to Holy Cannoli before every game.
Yes, that's a good truth. The Rossi freight train is rolling right now. Most creative speech you ever had in your football career, whether it was Pop Warner High School or college?
See, I had Frank Kronoff when I was at Algonquin, and that's about as understated of a coach as you can get. He's not going to do too much rah-rah. It's very, very Belichickian, just do your job every week type of stuff because he's a throwback as there ever was one. So I remember Dave Palazzi told a story about Huck Hannigan, and when he was coaching with Huck up at Leominster, he would have watches. And every week he would just, he'd get all fired up, hellfire and brimstone speech. He would take a watch and break it against the locker, and the kids would run out of the locker room screaming and yelling and ready to kill the next person they see. So at one point, Dave pulls him aside and says, Huck, I've seen this speech like 5 times now. What's up? He's like, I get to watch at yard sales before every game.
That's great. Get the watches that don't work, fire them off the wall.
High school kids don't know.
It doesn't
Spoiler
matter.
alert. It's,
Oh, I love it. We had one before we were playing Concord my junior year. And, of course, Acton's big in the Revolutionary War. Isaac Davis said, "We have not a man that's afraid to go," led the Acton Minutemen over the Old North Bridge and fired their shot heard around the world. So now Coach Leary has the buses stop in front of the Isaac Davis house in Acton. It's near the high school. Everyone gets off in the pouring rain. He says 200 years ago, a bunch of guys from Acton left this house, went over to Concord and kicked some butt, and we're going to do the same today. We get back on the bus, go over there, and then we got pumped by Willie Hicks and Concord. They were the better team, but it was a creative speech.
It was all right.
And we still talk about it to this day.
It's like Remember the Titans. It's fantastic.
It was outstanding. As always, it's the quickest segment. We're out of time again, but Willie, next week we'll do it all again. We'll,
Can't wait.
as always, have more to talk about.
I love it.
He's Jim Wilson. I'm Kevin Shea. We're back with more of the Frenzy Extra right after this.